Hey, good morning. Let's begin our practice. I have just one thing I want to show you. Okay, so when I think of traditional yoga, I go all the way back to the roots of Ashtanga. And this is the David Swenson book. It's an incredible practice manual. I've had this for years. I think this may be my second copy of it. I would love to go over and review some of the roots of Ashtanga, Surya A, Surya B, and then we'll get into some of the postures, some of the flow. I feel like the full Ashtanga sequence is pretty intimidating when you first start it because it's fast and it's very repetitive and it's very demanding of the body. But if you take your time, ease into the practice, all you really have to understand is some of the main principles and the foundation, and then you are ready to go. Okay, so let's do this. Come onto your mat. You will need 2 blocks and a blanket, and then I'm going to have my book nearby because you can always do that when you're practicing. Okay, we're just going to start in a more standard vinyasa style setting where you start seated. So, sitting on a block, knees together, tops of the feet to the mat, roll your shoulders down your back and just pause. And close your eyes. Lower your chin down towards your chest just slightly. And start to take some deep breaths, inhaling all the way into your belly, your ribs, and your collarbones. And exhale all the way, softening your collarbones, your ribs, and your belly. You can add a soft constriction to the back of your throat. And when you're doing this, this is called Ujjayi Pranayama. So the constriction feels like the sound of like fogging a mirror, but you're doing it through the nose. A little Darth Vader-y. On the inhale, the same feeling, same sound. And exhale. And keep breathing like that, and I'll just talk for a moment. So the breath is one of the main principles of the practice. It acts like a metronome. So it is the beat in the background of the practice. As you have that beat, that steady beat, that's really what vinyasa is. That's the movement, the flow, that's the link between the breath and the movement. So we call that the flow. The breath, Ujjayi Pranayama, it's a heating breath in regards to the Ashtanga practice. So you don't need to be in a heated room to do this. You can be in a cold room or a cool room. And you build the fire within. So it is an internal furnace. The next thing that I always mention and always refer to in my other practice is the Bhandas. As you have your chin down slightly, the torso is like a container or a pressure cooker. You draw the base of the pelvic floor in and up. Try it with me. Tone the base of the abdomen, the base of the pelvis inwards, and then pull up slightly. Automatically, it draws the belly in and the tailbone down. Okay, stay in that. Feel from the space of your belly that you can pull back. And when you do that, the tailbone gets a little bit longer. The front of the abdomen becomes more hollow. And then the chin just lowers down a little bit. And it makes more room in the back of the throat for Ujjayi breathing to be present and easier. 3 breaths. Let's do it together. the exhale, inhale and open your eyes. And the last main principle of the Ashtanga practice, the roots of yoga, is the Drishti. So the Drishti is what we think of, the external gaze, gazing out to find balance. Yes, that's the beginning. But it incorporates a sense of internal balance all the way back into your body. So you can think of it like this. When you look at a structure that is unmoving, a piece of wood or a piece of architecture, you can take the stable energy of that piece and bring it back into your body. Very physical approach to a Drishti. The Drishti then becomes softer and energetic. When you're looking out at something that is stable, you can take on the stability of it inside of your body, but not necessarily in a physical way, in a gentle way. So the Drishti is gazing and then softening. In a closed eye position, the gaze is often down the tip of the nose, all the way down towards the tip of the nose, which gives you a point of focus. And you can use that throughout the practice in many, many postures. Okay, let's do it. So come to a standing position, please. You can move your blanket off to the side. And bring your big toes to touch and keep a little bit of space between your heels. Firm your legs. And take your hands down alongside your body. Turn your palms face forward softly and then chin down. And close your eyes and begin to breathe again. Ujjayi pranayam, the breath of intention. The flow, as I mentioned, is the link of the breath. First, activate the arches of your feet from your thighs. Draw your belly button in by engaging the Bhandas. Mula Bandha, pelvis, Uddiyana Bandha, 2 inches below the belly button, and Jalandhara Bandha, the chin lock as it draws down. Lengthen your tailbone down, puff your chest up just slightly, and then feel a little pinning of the shoulders back so the heart is expansive. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head, gaze up. Exhale, fold forward, down, touch down towards the mat, nose to shins. Inhale, lift halfway up, draw your shoulders back. Plant your hands, step back to plank pose, top of a push-up. Look forward, elongate your body, bend your elbows, Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog, roll your shoulders back and lift your heart. Downward facing dog, lift your hips. Stay here. Put a soft bend into your knees, straighten through your arms, have your ears in line with your biceps, and then breathe. Come back to Ujjayi Pranayam. There is movement in the Ashtanga practice, but then the posture where we move into downward facing dog is where the body really asks for stillness. Asking to receive the postures or receive the movements. Look forward to your hands, inhale breath. Exhale, step your feet up to the front of your mat. Lift your chest halfway, inhale. Exhale, fold forward, go down. Inhale, stand, reach to the sky, come all the way up, pelvis forward. Exhale, hands down alongside your body. Let's do it again. Inhale, reach up, gaze up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, step back, bend your elbows, Chaturanga, gazing forward. Inhale, upward facing dog. Old school is to gaze up, new school is to gaze forward. Downward facing dog, hips high to the sky. Just 3 breaths this time. Use your Ujjayi breath today to create a lot of heat. Little bend in your knees. Look forward to your hands. Inhale, breath. Exhale, step or hop. Feet to the front of the mat. Lift your chest halfway up. Exhale, fold forward, go down. Inhale, stand, reach to the sky, stretch all the way up. Tailbone points down, gaze up. Exhale, hands alongside your body. One more time. Inhale, reach up, gaze up. Exhale, fold forward, go down. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana, step or hop back, land with bent elbows. Upward facing dog, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. So just from the breath, we can feel the heat building. And put a little bend in your knees and start to move more intention into your fingertips, especially your index finger and thumbs. Press your buttocks really high up and then lengthen back through your heels. Not necessarily down, but back is good. Look forward to your hands. Inhale, breath. Exhale, step or hop, feet to the front of your mat. Lift your chest halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stand, reach to the sky. And exhale, hands down alongside your body. It's a little different than traditional vinyasa. Bend your knees. Inhale, chair pose, gaze up. Gazing up is an old school variation. It can be a little crunchy for the neck. You're welcome to gaze forward or even down. Exhale, lower your hands down to the mat. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana, step or hop back. Upward facing dog, straight, strong arms and fingers. Downward facing dog, lift your hips. Reach your right leg high is a cue that comes from traditional vinyasa today. But here in the Ashtanga practice, just step. Right foot forward between your hands. Lower your back heel down. Inhale, warrior one pose, reach up. Tone your inner thighs. Gazing up can be a little crunchy and expand your ribs. Gazing forward is nice, a little more new school. Pull your belly in. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, release your hands down to the mat. Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward between your hands. Warrior one pose. Inhale, come up. Front of the hip points point forward. Draw your belly in. Even find a rotation as your left hip pulls back. Keep the bend of your left knee over top of your ankle. Take a breath. Exhale, release your hands down. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, 5 breaths. 5 breaths is traditional. We'll just do that for the first one. Put a little bend in your knees. Move your intention throughout your fingers and lift your buttocks higher. Feel your inner elbows turn in and up to broaden your shoulders away from your ears and create more length in the backs of your neck. Bring your big toes close. Look forward to your hands. Inhale, breath. Exhale, step or hop to the front of your mat. Lift your chest halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stand, reach to the sky, tailbone down. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, chair pose, bend your knees. Exhale, fold forward, fold down. Lift your chest halfway. Inhale, breath. Chaturanga Dandasana, land soft. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, warrior one pose. Inhale, breath. Draw your right hip back and sink low. Exhale, follow the gaze all the way down to Chaturanga. Inhale, up. Exhale, down dog. Step your left foot forward between your hands. Warrior one pose. Inhale, come up. Exhale, hands down. Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Holding and breathing. You can even hear it in the sound of my voice. This is a lot of work, even at a slow pace. Gaze up to your hands, inhale, breath. Exhale, step or hop, feet to hands. Lift halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stand, lift to the sky, tailbone down. Exhale, hands alongside your heart center, or your side hips. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head as you bend your knees. And exhale, fold forward. Lift halfway up. Let's do it nice and quick. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Step your right foot forward. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower your hands down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward between your hands. Inhale, Warrior 1 pose. Exhale, release your hands down to the mat, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. So that is the pace that you flow through the vinyasa every single time you move through a series in the Ashtanga practice. Put a little bend into your knees. Press your buttocks up high, arms straight and long. Look to your hands, inhale, breath. Exhale, step or hop to the front of your mat. Lift your chest halfway up and exhale, fold. Inhale, stand, come all the way up and exhale, hands alongside. So, Samastitihi is a posture that usually we say it's hands at heart center. It's a lot of different postures. Either hands at heart center, arms alongside your body, and occasionally this is called Samastitihi. So just knowing that in different types or styles of practice, you may hear the same names. Okay, I'm going to turn to a special page in this book because the idea for our practice today is to incorporate just the beginning series of Ashtanga, Surya A, Surya B. We just did them 3 times each, 4 on the B, and then move into a short sequence. So a short sequence is something that you can do in about 30 minutes. It will give you a glimpse at the Ashtanga practice, open up the body completely and fully, have you feeling really good. So let's do that. From our starting position, big toes touch, reach your arms up over your head, gaze up to your hands. Ground your feet down, pull your belly in. Notice how the buttocks wants to move back. Draw your belly in, creating the locks of Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha. On the exhale, lower your chin down, Jalandhara Bandha. You should feel a great sense of core stability, especially if you did the series from last week. So good. Take another inhale, breath, and exhale, release your hands down alongside your body. Widen your feet to about hip bone distance apart, which is 2 fist distance apart. And I'm going to go just a tiny bit wider for this position. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, flow hands through heart center, fold forward. Peace fingers, wrap them around your big toes. So much that your thumbs can lay on top of your index fingernails. Gaze forward, inhale, breath. Exhale, widen your elbows out to the side and fold. Okay, so let me talk you through this posture. Inhale, gaze forward, put a bend into your knees so you can press your buttocks back and feel your hamstrings light up. I'm starting to introduce just a little bit of the Sanskrit language. So this is Padangustasana. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, bend your elbows, widen the base of your buttocks and fold. So you should feel a ton of intensity. Inhale, gaze forward, bend your knees, look up. You can create a little bit of expansion across the hamstrings. And exhale, fold forward, widen your elbows and straighten your legs for 5, Finding your breath. 4, 3, 2, and 1. So good. Lower your hands down to the mat, heel toe your feet in, put a bend into your knees, and inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, lower your hands to your heart center. The idea is that Ashtanga practice comes from the umbrella of Hatha Yoga, so you get to experience the posture through the breath very deeply, and then you can take a break and let it move throughout your whole body. I hope you feel that in the backs of your legs. Stand on your right foot and just step your left leg back into a long lunge. As you have the lunge position, straighten your right leg so the feet are a little bit wider than shoulders distance apart. Here, let's spend some time on this pose. Trikonasana. Press down into the mound of your big toe. So this is the space just below the big toe, and then the big toe can press down. So it really is like below the knuckle. Press down, but lift the arch of your foot and straighten your leg. Try not to move into hyperextension. Press your shin forward and draw your right hip back. Now reach your right arm way out in front of you. A lot of times people get that crack in the hip. Place your right hand down onto your right shin. Rotate the front of your left hip up towards the sky and reach left hand to the sky. Gaze up, draw your right hip back. At the same time, squeeze your heels in towards one another so much that you feel the base of your lower glute muscles tightening. Draw your shoulder onto your back as you turn. You can be in this position and feel so much. The arch lifting, the big toe pressing down, the shin moving forward, and the right hip drawing back to create a torsional length throughout the entirety of the right leg. The same thing happens in the left leg where you press down through your outer left heel. Keep going, stay in it, and roll up through the front of your left hip, moving from the inner thigh line. Gaze towards the uplifted hand. Beautiful. Gaze down for balance, and then bend your front knee. Okay, so extended side angle. You can take your forearm down to the top of your knee, reach your left arm up over your head, and then alongside your ear. Deeper in this position is to take your hand down to the pinky edge of the foot or onto a block. That's pretty challenging, so do your best. Rotate your right buttocks under. Widen your right knee into your inner right bicep. Press it out. Roll the front of your right hip down and under so that the front of your left hip can move upwards. The left rib cage will follow. Sink low into the pose, and then squeeze your heels together deeply. Keep squeezing the heels together. Uddita Parsvakonasana. Inhale, come back up to Warrior Two. So you should feel your leg burning. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, release your hands down to the mat and step back to downward facing dog. Pedal out your heels one at a time and rock side to side. Look forward to your hands. Inhale, breath. Exhale, step or hop your feet to the front of your mat. Lift your chest halfway up. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward, feeling the length in the backs of your legs. Lift all the way up. Inhale, breath. And exhale, release your hands down. Okay, other side. Stand on your left foot. Step your right leg back into a deep lunge. And then bend into your front knee just for a second so you can feel the width of Warrior Two and straighten your left leg. Notice your hyperextension. I like to heel toe my right foot in just one step. Reach your left arm out far, and then pause. Press your big toe mound down. Draw the front of your left shin forward and your outer left hip back. That will help to create more length in the left side of your waistline. Keep reaching. Lower your left hand down to the front of your shin. So you feel the shin pushing into the hand. Reach your right arm straight up to the sky. Stretch up, gaze towards your hand. Draw your left heel into the mat. Roll your left hip back. Lift the arches of both feet. Feel the whole inner line of your right leg strong and steady. Gaze up to your right hand. Then pull your belly in, like you could cinch up the front of your pelvis all the way towards the base of your belly button. Creating length just by being in the posture. You can always go deeper. Traditionally, peace fingers wrap around the big toe in this posture and gaze up. And then look down, bend your knee, come back up to what is considered warrior two position, sink into it just for a moment, and then if you need to, grab your block. Place your block at the pinky edge of your foot, hand onto block. Bend your left knee so it's deep over top of your ankle. Reach your right arm up and overhead, palm face down, draw your shoulder back. Stay here, wrap your left buttocks underneath and firm your right leg. Squeeze your heels together so incredibly actively, holding here. Rotate your gaze underneath of your right bicep so it's as if you're twisting your chest up towards the sky. 3 breaths. And warrior two, come all the way up. Extend out, hold for just a moment. And exhale, release your hands down to the mat, step back to downward facing dog, and then let your body soften. The way that I'm teaching this is a little different than how it's taught in the book because a lot of my students haven't done the traditional Ashtanga practice, so your body is used to this feeling of movement and it's kind of necessary. Gaze up to your hands, inhale breath, exhale, step or hop to the front. Lift your chest halfway up, inhale. Exhale, fold forward, go down. Inhale, lift halfway up again. So here, ground your weight into your left foot, spread out your toes. Take your peace fingers around your right toes and hold. Draw your right hip in, or your thigh bone into your hip. Take your left hand over to your left hip and draw your right shoulder back. So the reason that we're staying in this position right now is because this is the feeling that you want in the standing pose. To be able to lock your right shoulder in, activate the Bhandas, keep a straight right leg and pull your belly back. You're welcome to bend your right knee as you come up or take your right leg straight out in front of you and lift. Draw your shoulder back and hold here. Gaze is important, so focus on your Drishti, something that is out in front of you, steady and stable. Draw your right shoulder back, creating a ton of length in the back of your right leg for 3, 2, and 1. Hands to hips, point your right foot, pull your belly in for 3, 2, and 1. Release your foot down and put a little bend into your knees. Good job. Take your arms up over your head. Inhale, breath, look up. Exhale, fold forward, go down. Stand all of your weight on your right foot. Peace fingers of your left hand wrap around your big toe. Straighten through your left arm, draw your left shoulder back. Take your right hand to your right hip, draw your right hip back, so that you can feel all of the principles of the posture, and then you're welcome to start with a bent knee Or move your weight to your right foot and come up. Draw your left shoulder back as you hold. Belly in tight. Focusing on Ujjayi breath and Bhandas. Letting the Drishti help you to maintain your steady position. One more. Hands to hips, point your foot, draw your belly in. Release your foot down. Reach your arms up over your head. Inhale, breath, and exhale, hands down alongside your body. So let's break down a posture that is actually very confusing. And I'm going to break it down from the perspective of alignment versus the traditional perspective. Traditionally, the posture of Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1, is said to be the hardest posture in yoga. I agree. Grab your blocks. Place your right foot in between your blocks and step your left foot back far enough that your heel can touch the ground. Both feet flat onto the mat. See your feet, that they're on separate tracks. Now I teach this very differently than David Swenson does. So bend your right knee. If your left heel lifts up, move it forward. The reason is you want to keep both hips pointed forward. In a more traditional practice, the hips are so open that even in a deep lunge, you can have both hips pointed forward. In our culture, it's a little bit harder to do. We sit in chairs, we get stuck in our cars for long periods of time, and it tightens up the front of the hips. So now bend your right knee, reach your arms up over your head, interlace your fingers, point your index finger up, gaze up. Draw your right hip back as you bend your right knee deep. Press your inner left heel down, straighten through your left leg. Pull your locks up, Mula Bandha up, belly button in and up. You'll feel a deeper stretch through the front of the psoas, then gaze up. Keep the ribs pulled in so you don't splay them out into a big back bend, but they're pulled in so that the focus is on the front of the hip. Now the transition to Warrior Two doesn't work because the feet are not in the same position. So we're not going to go there. Place your hands down onto your blocks, step your left foot forward. We'll just switch and do Warrior One on the other side. See that both heels can touch down onto the mat. Bend your left knee deep, look forward. Draw your left hip back a lot, straighten through your right leg, push down through your inner heel, and reach your arms up over your head. Interlace your fingers, take the opposite interlace that you did last time. Bring the front of your right hip forward and your left hip back. You may need to adjust the position of your feet, so just notice what you need. Keep that deep bend in your knee and pull the belly in. Gazing up, but keep the ribs down. This is the foundation of the practice that we use in all vinyasa classes. Exhale, release your hands down to the mat. You can step back to downward facing dog and then rock your hips from side to side just to loosen up the back of the buttocks. Here we go, Warrior Two. Now reach your right leg up, step your right foot forward into a very deep lunge. Lower your left heel down and align the front heel with the inner arch of your back foot. That is pretty deep. If you would like it to be a little more modified, align heel to heel, and that will be less aggressive. Come up to Warrior Two, bend deep into your front knee. So now the front knee is over top of the ankle, press down into the pinky edge of your left foot. Wrap your right buttocks underneath of you, pull your belly in and up, thinking about all of the lines of energy. Draw your shoulders onto your back and extend your arms. Traditionally, we look to the right. Today, look to your left hand. See your back hand as you work to externally rotate your right knee and feel the buttocks working deeply. As you gaze back at your left hand, that will keep the opening through the front of the left hip rather than spiraling it forward into the shape of Warrior One. Sink low. Lift the arches of both feet. Tone your inner right quadriceps. Sink down a little bit deeper. And then gaze at your right hand, but keep your whole left side body open to the left. Flip your right hand, reverse your warrior, look up. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back to downward facing dog. Rock your hips from side to side. Lift your left leg up, inhale, breath. Exhale, step forward, deep warrior two. Lower your back heel down and see the alignment of your feet before you come up. Inhale, lift up. Sink into warrior two pose, bend your knee over your ankle, and then extend your arms. Wrap your left buttocks. You can stick it out, then wrap it under. As it pulls under, the front of the belly pulls in and up. Extend your arms. See down your left hand, that's the front knee, but then turn your gaze back to your right hand. And go to your breath. And sinking in just a little bit deeper. Lift your arches, press down through your heels, soft toes. Hug your heels in towards the midline to help draw the tailbone downwards. Flip your hand, reverse your warrior, lean back. Exhale, hands down to the mat, step back, downward facing dog, and shake out your legs. Look up to your hands and exhale, step or hop your feet to the front. Lift halfway up, inhale, breath, and then bend your knees, have a seat onto your mat. Extend your legs straight out in front of you. I teach this a little bit different. Traditionally, people would have you pull your heels and your toes together, but let's work with the integrity of the inner thighs. Spiral them in, back, and wide. Broaden the base of your seat. Take your hands to your legs and rotate your thighs in. Keep about a fist space between your heels, then bring your inner big toes together. Flex your feet, spread out your toes, and lengthen your pinky toes up towards your hips. If you see this position where the toes are supinated, rounding forward, the arch of the foot becomes more of a bowl, that is the opposite. So that's not really lengthening and balancing the base of the pelvic floor, rather it's making it a little bit tighter. Here, this spreads everything out. So, opens up the buttocks, opens up the base of the pelvis, broadens the base of the low back. Then you can pull in Mula Bandha energetically, and it feels a lot longer at the inner thighs. The pose is Dandasana. Take your hands down next to your hips, fingers spread forward, chin down to your chest, sit up tall. Pull the base of the pelvic floor in and up. Gather it from the integrity of the feet. Draw your belly in, Uddiyana Bandha, chin down, Jalandhara Bandha. Press the heels of the hands down and squeeze your shoulders back softly, here for 5 breaths. Everything is activated so much that even the heels could lift. Ujjayi Pranayam. The Drishti is down the tip of your nose. Belly tight like a corset. relax your heels down if they were lifted. Open your eyes, lift your chest. Okay, so now, traditionally, we would have you grab your peace fingers around your big toe. But like I mentioned, that will put the body into a supination of the feet. So grab the pinky edges of your feet. Wrap your fingers around the soles of your feet. Lengthen your chest forward. And if that's too much, use a strap. The strap will go in the same position and you can hold it pretty close to the feet. It does the same thing by drawing the pinky toes back, and I think it's a little bit more efficient. Inhale, lift your chest, lengthen your spine. Exhale, widen your elbows and fold, nose towards your shin bones. We'll pulse through this posture. Inhale, look forward to your toes. Keep your elbows bent if it's possible. Exhale, fold. 3, inhale. Exhale. Each time moving deeper. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Nice and deep. Exhale. Inhale, look forward. And exhale, release. Walk your hands back. Good job. Keep your left leg extended. Take your right foot into your inner left thigh. Again, adjust your leg. Rotate your left thigh inwards. Sit up a little bit taller. Take your left hand off to the left side. Reach your right arm up, way up. Then twist your upper body over to the left. Take your right hand, reach, grab the pinky edge of your foot with your thumb pointed down. Then bend at your right elbow and fold your chest over top of your thigh. Nose can move down towards the outer left shin for 5. Great. Inhale, look forward, and exhale, come up. Switch sides, extend your right leg straight out in front of you. Take your hands to your thigh, rotate your thigh in, flesh of the buttocks out. Bring your left foot to your inner right thigh, sit up. Take your right hand off to the side, reach your left arm up so you elongate your whole back, and now twist to the right. Exhale, fold forward, grab the pinky edge of your foot, thumb face down, bend your elbow, and roll onto your thigh. Because the alignment was set up from the very beginning, the posture is deep immediately. Go into your breath. Look forward on the inhale, and exhale, come up to a seat. Good job. Extend your left leg out. We're going to stay low. Bend your right knee again. Place the sole of your right foot onto the mat. Reach your right arm up towards the sky. Then lean forward. I teach this one a lot. Let your right knee widen. Turn your thumb face down. Wrap your arm around the front of your shin. You can stay just like that. And your fingertips could be on the ground behind you, or clasp. Your right hand grabs the left. Look forward up to your toes. Exhale, fold. Chin towards knee. Chin towards shin bone. Just 3 breaths. The practice is designed in a certain way that it's cleansing to the body. So this moves deeply into the digestive system. Gaze up to your toes. Inhale, breath. Exhale, release, switch legs, extend your right leg out, bend your left knee, place the sole of your left foot down, adjust your right leg, reach your left arm up, inhale, Exhale, hinge forward, let your left knee wing out, turn your thumb down, wrap your arm behind you, and grab your right fingers. Take a long gaze, inhale, breath. Exhale, fold. And flex the toes of your right foot back. This practice has a seriousness to it, which really is the focus of the practice. It has a rigidity to it. Gaze forward, inhale, come up, extend both of your legs out. Okay, so this position I'm teaching just a little different. Bend at your knees. Scoot your bottom forward, hold your hands around the backs of your knees and draw your shoulders back. Lean back, lean back. Then slowly come onto your tippy toes, pull your belly in, and flare your toes out. As you flare your toes, it's kind of like a floint, a flex point. Lift your chest and gaze up towards the ceiling. Just holding for 5, 4. You're welcome to go into a full expression of boat. 3, 2, and 1. Release your feet back down. Scoot your bottom further forward out in front of you, and we're moving all the way down onto the back. From the back position. This posture is extremely important after doing deep forward bends. We neutralize in boat pose and then go into deep back bending. Lift your hips up towards the sky. Wiggle your shoulder blades together underneath of you. Press your feet down, toes forward. Lengthen your tailbone towards the backs of your knees and then lift. Hips. Hands can come to the sides of your waistline and even give you a little press upwards. Lift your chin to create a nice neutral arc in the back of your neck. Holding here, squeeze your knees in for 3, 2, and 1. Release your hips back down to the mat. Neutralize your body. Pull your knees into your chest and curl up. Full wheel is an option, but I don't think that we're totally ready for it. So come up to a seated position. Extend your legs out in front of you. Take your hands to your inner thighs again. Rotate your thighs in and then fold forward. Grab the outer edges of your feet. Widen your elbows, forehead towards your shins. There's a sense of vitality from moving forward bend into back bend, into deep forward bend again. It loosens up the spine so much. And then inhale, come up. Okay, so this is where you need your blanket. And if you have 1 blanket, perfect. If you have 2 blankets, even better. The use of the blanket is the true way to get into shoulder stand safely, and that comes from the practice of Iyengar. If you're getting into a shoulder stand in the middle of a room, my understanding and my idea is that you really must be fully equipped to be able to do it. Meaning you practice a lot, you've been doing it for years, you're steady, your neck is safe. Okay. So here's the height of a blanket and a half or 2 blankets. One is thinner than the other. And I want them to be mat's distance apart, wide. Here, lay down onto your back. Have the back of your neck against the blankets. And so you can really feel how much height you have. It's an incredible amount of height, and it's very freeing for the neck, for the head to drop back. That means that this honors the cervical curve. Press your elbows down, press your feet down, lengthen your tailbone forward, and then just lift your hips. And we're doing this for a second to feel the weight of the body in the shoulders. And then lower your hips back down. Now, because we have the blankets underneath of us, we need a little bit of core momentum. So you can take your knees up to your chest and then pull them up. Extend your toes overhead. And because of the blankets, your toes should be able to touch the ground for most people. chin up. If your chin is at your chest, you will get a little bit curled up and it will be harder to breathe. Bring your hands to your low back, point your fingers up, and then lift your legs all the way up to the sky. Hands can slide down into your middle back, point your toes towards the ceiling. This pose is magic. Heels, reach the heels of your feet towards the front of your mat and your hips towards the back of your mat. Press everything up. Anchor the back of your triceps down. Press everything up. Get longer and taller through the middle of your back, strong. Press everything up. A lot of length. Feel the release through your feet, the change in blood flow. Slowly exhale. Hands support your back. Take your toes down behind your head. Bend your knees. Bring your knees towards the sides of your ears. Wrap your hands behind the backs of your knees and maybe grab opposite forearms. And then do this with me. Hold on to your feet or your ankles. Keep your belly engaged. Belly tight. Bring your nose in the direction of your shins. Belly really tight. Keep the belly tight. Hold on to your feet. Loosen up your arms just a little bit till your back comes down to the mat. And then bend at your knees. As the knees bend, take the knees in to touch one another. Draw your shoulders onto your back, hands to your belly, and just pause. We are almost finished with our practice today. Look up towards your toes, straighten out your legs. Take your hands, palms face down, underneath of your buttocks slightly. Come up onto your elbows. You can put your elbows onto the blanket since it's there. Lift your chest, take your chest really high, and drop your head back. The opposite position for the neck. Squeeze your elbows in, press your hands down, reach the center of your chest up, just 3. Exhale, chin to your chest, tone your belly, and come all the way up into a seated position. I'm going to have you sit onto the blankets, cross at your ankles, and sit up tall. Draw your belly in, chin down to your chest. Lower your hands down onto your knees, straighten your arms, and pull your belly in. Even deeper, take your index finger to your thumb, turn the palms of your hands face forward. Reach the other 3 fingers together and down, Gyan Mudra, belly tight. Allow your neck to soften, the optic nerve of the eye to stabilize, the Bhandas to be locked, and the intention to be present throughout your entire body. Bring your hands to your heart center. Lift your chin up, open your eyes, move the blankets off to the side, and just like that, we move into final Shavasana pose. So go ahead and lay down onto your back, extend your legs, let them flop out to the sides, turn your palms face up, and hold there, just pause. In the posture of final Shavasana, here's what we're practicing. The word Shavasana, Shava, Asana, pose, Shava, pose, death pose. I find it so interesting because it is a practice of little death. We are always practicing the transformation of the body, the transformation of the day, the beginning, the middle, and the end, this full cycle. So now drop in. Release the control of the Ujjayi breath. Allow your Drishti to become expansive. Let your jaw, tongue, and eyes soften completely. The Shavasana is one of the most important parts of the practice. To allow your body to drop in deeper and receive the work of the breath, the work of the Bhandas, the work of unity between breath and movement, the work of the Drishti. And it's as if even for just a moment in time, all of the energies of the body come into alignment. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes and deepen your breath. Extend your arms up over your head, stretch all the way out, point through your feet, extend them all the way forward. Then exhale, gather your knees up into your chest, wrap your arms around your shins, pull your forehead into your knees. With closed eyes, give yourself the tightest full body hug. And then roll to your right side. We roll to the right side because it creates more energy. It's the masculine side of the body. Pause there for just a moment. And then come up into a comfortable seated position. You can join me here with your legs crossed, sitting on something. And bring your hands to your heart center and draw your chin down ever so slightly towards your chest. And take a breath, acknowledging your practice, your presence on the mat.